Happy New Year, guys. I wanted to share this video with you and wish you a Happy New Year and tell you about my resolve for this year. I resolve to be in reality. I hear reality is really nice this time of year, and I'd like to spend more time there. What that means to me to be in reality is there's a great metaphor of a computer, and you know when you're working on your computer and you're trying to download a video and it's buffering and your computer's going really slow. That's because there's a bunch of superfluous programs running in the background, obsolete programs eating up the memory of your computer, which is not in real time. It's taking forever. Human beings are that way. We're often not in real time. We're not very present to our lives. And I wanted to tell you about my resolution. I resolve to be in reality more. And there's a really great teaching about this that I want to share with you. So first of all, one of the things that keeps us out of reality is we get triggered. We seem to have these obsolete programs running, and they get triggered by a criticism from our partner, or someone cuts us off in traffic. Many things trigger us, and it's as if an energy comes up. It's been called the emotional pain body, someone's demons, as in, that guy hasn't dealt with his demons very well. So what happens when we get triggered and agitated and we're not in reality? It's as if this obsolete programming has taken us over. And I'll give you an example. I have a very accomplished friend of mine named Jim, and Jim and I are really good friends, and he's a very accomplished guy, and yet he has this deep story, this deep narrative that he's not good enough, and he feels that there's a pattern to it. He feels that he can't express himself at work. His managers, his projects aren't really taken seriously. His kids don't really listen to him, he's easily dismissed by his wife and his family. He's got this big narrative going. Well, one time I was interacting with him. We were talking on the phone, and I was driving, and he was telling me about his life, and he was really enthusiastic, talking. I'm like, Jim, I gotta go. I got a 4 o'clock appointment. It's like 5 minutes to 4. I'm almost there at the office. Okay. Let me just finish. So he keeps talking. So finally I said, Jim, I gotta go. I'm pulling up into the driveway. Okay. He keeps talking. And then I pull up there. It's 4 o'clock. I gotta go by, and I hung up on him. So he told me later, after this happened, he said how triggered he was. See, and it touched into his same story about how he's not good enough. There's something about him that's dismissible. And he has a whole set of behaviors associated with this emotional pain body, this obsolete program of his. So he isolates himself and he overeats. He's in a terrible mood. So this is what we all do. We all know what it's like to be in a terrible mood, to be triggered, to not be present to our life, to be annoyed, agitated, distracted. And it's very important to understand how it is that you're triggered, what triggers you, the nature, what you do when you're triggered. And I've come up, I found this teaching from Pema Chodron that's so wonderful. And there's 4 R's. And the first one is to recognize that you're triggered and that you're operating under the influence of this emotional pain body, of this obsolete programming. You recognize it's happening in real time. And it's like a red flag, right? And then you see with the agitation what you do. There's a pattern to what you do. A very common one is overeating to numb myself, withdrawing. There's a whole set of addictive behaviors that we do to numb, to escape, to avoid, to deal with the terrible narrative, the terrible stories that are active when we're under the influence. The problem is, that's not the problem. The problem is when you are talking to your wife or your children, and you're under the influence of these pain body, and you cause more hurt, more pain, more drama. You feed it. And so you feed it in a very specific way. And that's where your habit patterns come in. And I do it. I feed it in a very specific way. So this 4-step process is recognize you're operating under the influence. Then you stop. It's a red flag. It's like, oh, I can't have this important conversation with my partner right now. I'm totally triggered. This is not a good time to make a career choice. This is not a good time to have that meeting with the manager or to discuss with my kid what happened. It's not a good time. I have to take care of myself. I'm not in reality. And if I'm not in reality, I'm going to make more of a mess of my life. So recognize you're operating under the influence. And the 4th R is refrain from making it worse. So we all make it worse. I remember the time it happened to me is I have some ADD. I suffer from attention deficit disorder. I've been diagnosed. And I forgot to call a bunch of people back at work. And my manager called me in. I was in a great mood. My manager said, "Paul, you forgot to call those people." And I went, "Oh, I'm so sorry." It's okay. It's okay. The other social worker did it. It's okay. Just don't do it. Don't let it happen again, Paul. I'm so sorry. I won't, So I went to the break room and I started stuffing my face with chocolate, and it was so familiar. I wasn't hungry, but I was hating myself. So my emotional pain body, the pattern is very well established and known by me. And you need to know, it's helpful to know your pattern. And so I remember in the midst of it, while I was stuffing my face with food in the break room, hating on myself, I recognized I'm under the influence of my pain body. And the 2nd R is to refrain. So back away from the food, Paul, take a step back. And so I stepped back and I took a breath. So I refrained from making it worse. It was bad. It's bad enough to have ADD. It's not my fault I have ADD, by the way, but I do. It's a pain in the ass. But hating on myself and overeating, numbing myself with food is how I make it worse. So I caught myself in the midst of it and I refrained from making it worse. The 3rd R is to relax into the underlying experience. What am I actually going through? Oh, I relaxed, I opened, I softened. So the 3rd R is to relax, to open, to take a step back, to observe what's happening, just to take a breath. Oh, I fucked up again in the same way. Yeah, I do that. Yeah, I have ADD. I hate myself. Oh, I do that too. Oh yeah. But I realize that I'm the one who's hating on myself. And if I'm the one who's making it worse, then maybe I could stop making it worse. If I stepped back and became gentle and held I refrained, I broke the cycle of this cycle. So I was able to relax, open, have a little modicum of gentleness. And so that's the 3rd one, is to relax. And then the 4th one is to resolve. The resolve is that anytime this comes up again, I resolve to handle my emotional pain body, my obsolete programmings in the same way. And I might eat a whole box of donuts in the break room and don't call any of my friends back for a day. And wake up the next day feeling horrible and hating myself. And it's like, because the whole cycle played out, right? But now I'm still hating myself. So now it's a mini cycle. So I'm having the hangover of this cycle. So now it's a mini cycle. So I go back, I'm hating myself for falling into that cycle and hating myself so much and eating all those donuts and having ADD, which isn't even my fault. So it's like I'm hating myself for yesterday. So now I recognize I'm still under the influence of this programming, of this emotional pain body, of this obsolete program. So I recognize it's a mini cycle. And then I refrain from, I pick up the phone and call my friend and say, "I'm so sorry I didn't call you back yesterday. I was in a world of hurt yesterday. I was caught in my drama. I love you, Paul. It's okay, and I go for a walk or do something to take care of myself." And so you refrain from making it worse again, relax and hold yourself gently. All that to resolve. I resolved to deal with the triggered emotional pain body in that way this year. And I wanted to share that with you and say Happy New Year. Love to you, my brothers.